Oh yeah, I'll find your place.
I got a little piece of paper there.
Yeah, the piece of paper should be there. I moved it last night. To where it should be. We're on, since we only did one blot last night, we're on that Vav Amud Aleph in the, to Mishnah, no. No, we're gonna start right from the top of bottom of Hamid Base in your Gemara. Hakol Modim. You should have 2 dots there. You have 2 dots? Hakol Modim? We did exactly a blot yesterday. Exactly, but we left the bottom of Dalam and Base. I got the bottom of Hamid Base. Okay? Yeah. What? Oh. You're going to be able to read a thing?
I can make it out, yeah.
Okay.
I can see it.
Here we are in Hakol Modim, which is right here. Third line down.
Great, thank you.
Hakol Modim. Does everybody see the Hamid Base right at the bottom for you guys? Hakol Modim B'Kli Sheni? Is that the one? Is that what I just showed you? So that's Hakol Modim B'Kli Sheni?
Yes.
You have it, Mr. Zuger? Hakol Modim B'Kli Sheni? No, you don't have a saying Gemara.
The last 2 words of line.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Hakol Modim. Everybody agrees that B'Kli Sheni Shu Mutter. Now it's halacha, which we learned yesterday, which is that something becomes chayv and trumas u'maisis d'Rabbanan if you put it into a pot on the fire. I think we actually learned 2 days ago in the Mishnah. And yesterday we expounded on it. If you put something into a pot on the fire, it definitely becomes chayv and trumas u'maisis immediately. You can no longer snack from it. Now this is only true about a kli rishon, haloesh, if it's the first vessel on the fire. Hakol Modim B'Kli Sheni Shu Mutter. Or if you put a Kli Sheni, it's mutter. You can still snack from it. In other words, let's say you have hypothetically a tea bag from tea which grew in Eretz Yisrael, and you put it into your Kli Sheni, which is your cup, so it's not chayv and trumas u'maisis. If you're just snacking on it, you're having a cup of tea, you're working around the field, you wouldn't have to meiser it. Okay? Hakol Modim B'Kli Sheni Shu Mutter. Ma bin Kli Rishon, ma bin Kli Sheni. What's the difference between a Kli Rishon and Kli Sheni? Rabbi Yossi Barbun, as Barbun said, Kana yad sholetes bo v'kana ena yad sholetes. Now there are many different interpretations of this line in the Gemara, but the Pashto interpretation is that Kli Rishon or Kli Sheni, a hand can touch. A hand can control it, literally. Sholetes mean control, but it means a hand can touch it. Whereas a Kli Rishon, a hand cannot touch. Okay, so that's the Pashto shot. There's a lot of some Mepharshim want to say that Yad Sholetes Bo in the Yerushalmi is the same thing as Yad Soletes Bo in the Bavli, which would be very bad for the Jews. Would create tremendous chumras. Well, I don't want to get into it right now, but the Pashto says that's the exact opposite. Yad Soletes Bo in the Bavli means that your hand pulls away when you touch it. It's solate means it jumps out. Yad sholetes bo means that your hand can touch it, right? Your hand can come into contact with it. Okay, so the Yerushalmi first off is distinguishing between Yad sholetes and Ein Yad sholetes. Rabbi Yonah said no. Kan v'kan, this is the way we paskin. Ein Yad sholetes, both by Kli Rishon and by Kli Sheni you can't touch it. Kli Sheni is also very hot. You can't touch a Kli Sheni. Ella. So what's the difference between the two? Again, that's why it's going to make a big difference, because if you say Yad Sholetes is Yad Soledes, so it's going to come out that a Kli Rishon is a Kli Rishon even if Ein Hayad Soledes Bo, which is a special chumrah which the Magen Avraham has, and they say maybe he got it from this Yerushalmi. Okay, let me clarify. It's a very basic principle in Hilchos Shabbos. There's a special chumrah which Magen Avraham has. Normally a Kli Rishon is only considered to be a Kli Rishon if Yad Soledes Bo, right? It makes sense, because it's not Yad Soledes Bo. If your hand doesn't draw away, it doesn't cook, right? But the Magen Avraham says that by Kli Rishon, even if you ain't Yad Soledes Bo, it still cooks. It's a very schwer thing where the Magen Avraham got it from. Very difficult. So they say, I think even the Magen Avraham himself might allude to it, that Yad Soledes Bo, he says that the Yerushalmi he does quote Yerushalmi the Magen Avram. So he said the Magen Avram obviously interprets that this Yad Sholetisbo is Yad Soletisbo. It says kan v'kan ena Yad Soletisbo, meaning that a Kli Rishon can even be a Kli Rishon if your hand doesn't draw away from it. But we're not learning that way. The way we're learning is kan v'kan ena Yad Sholetisbo means that it's possible to even have a Kli Sheni, which is very hot, to the point where your hand cannot touch it, and still considered to be a Kli Sheni and not a Kli Rishon. And the difference is in the vessels, not in the heat necessarily. Okay? Am I making confusing you, or is it making sense?
Make a little sense.
A little sense? Thank you. Okay. Sounds a little bit too grudging. Yeah?
With regard to Shabbos.
Yeah.
If you have a cliche, it's Yad Soletis.
We hold Alach L'Maisa, that even if Yad Soletisbo, as long as it's not Yad Nichvesbo, as long as your hand doesn't get burnt, even though your hand is extremely uncomfortable and you pull it back, it's still considered to be a Kli Sheni, not a Kli Rishon. Okay? Yad Nichvesbo, which is approximately 180 degrees, somewhere around 180 degrees, then you have a problem in Kli Sheni. But you might now that be considered Kli Sheni.
Do you know if you have 180 degrees?
You burned your tongue. Yeah. Okay, that's a good way of knowing the Yad Nichvesbo. General principle. Okay? Very rarely, you can drink a beverage, which is Yad Nichvesbo. Okay, coffee, I believe, is when the coffee goes through the coffee grounds about 160 degrees.
So you understand, for public health rules, in nursing homes, for example, they must serve a meal at 140 degrees.
Yeah.
But it apparently doesn't disturb the mouth, 140.
Right. Makes sense. Right.
But you're saying 180.
Hot tea or hot coffee is about 160. If it be 20 degrees hotter, you can feel it.
Okay.
Okay? It says more. Amar Rav Mona said, Hadein Pincha. Now here we have the Gersa changes between my Gemara and yours. Hadein Pincha da'aroiza, a container or a plate of rice. Mesayeh la'abo is a proof for my father, meaning that it's possible that a plate of rice will retain the temperature when it goes from a Kli Rishon to a Kli Sheni. Vadim pincha de grossa Mesayeh la'abo. The same thing is true about a container of beans. Right? That mafne le min asar la'asar. You take them from place to place, v'ad kedonu rosach, and it's still hot. Okay, it's still boiling. So you see that from Kli Rishon to Kli Sheni, it doesn't necessarily change the temperature. Now, the truth is, we're machmir by a dover gush. We're machmir by solid foods on Shabbos. That solid foods on Shabbos are cooked even if they're in a Kli Sheni, precisely because solid foods retain their heat to a very high degree, right? But in terms of Ma'asros, we're not machmir. In terms of Ma'asros, Chazal said that if you put stuffed tevel in a Kli Rishon, that you can no longer snack from it. That's only a Kli Rishon, not a Kli Sheni. And even if it's a davar gush, even if it's a solid which retains its temperature in the Kli Sheni, you can still eat it. You can still snack on the tevel when it's put into a Kli Sheni. Okay? Says the Gemara, Talmud Tninon. We learned over there. Yeah.
The Kli Rishon or Kli Sheni is not brought into the house?
No, it's all out in the field, right? We're talking about when you're cooking out in the field or something. Yeah, a lot of times they cooked outside the house too. Yeah. Tamatzina, ha'ilfas v'akadera, a pot. Ilfas is a large part, kadera is a small pot. Shehaviran mirusachim. You took them off a fire and they're hot on Shabbos. Lo yitain letocho tavlin. You may not put into them spices, because the spices will get cooked. But you can put the spices into a plate. A kara is a plate with one compartment. A tamchui is a plate with several compartments, like a cafeteria type dish. Rabbi Yehuda says, do you have all this which I'm reading? Okay. Rabbi Yehuda says you can put it into anything. Okay, you can put a tavlin into anything. Now it'll pick up again. Mal litain tavlin. Tavlin. Do you have this now? Do you have it?
I'm scrambling. Mal litain. Yeah, I've got it.
Which line?
It's the 3, 6,
10th line down. Ma'olitain tavli milamatan. Can you put spices into a pot, and pour hot water on them, which is the principle of ding, 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 ding. Irui Kli Rishon. On Shabbos, can you pour a hot beverage onto a cold solid? Supposedly not. You're correct. But it's machlokas here. Rabbi Yonamar Aser. Rabbi Yonamar says it's forbidden. Irui Kli Rishonu. This pouring is like Kli Rishon, and you probably don't have the next part. But Rabbi Yossi Amar Mutter. It's Mutter Irui Lavka Kli Rishonu, because Irui is not a Kli Rishon. So it's a machlokas. We in fact paskin l'chumra that Irui Kli Rishon is Kli Rishon dami. If you pour from a hot pot, it's like the substance itself. The proof Rabbi Yoina, who says that Irui Kli Rishon is forbidden, is from the following case. Now here he changes the case. He changed the girsuk entirely. Okay, so I'll just read you the girsuk which I have. It says in Teira, Ukli cheres asher tevusha bo yishaver. If you cook korban in a kli cheres, in an earthenware pot, you got to break it, because it's going to become nosar. It's going to get absorbed into the walls of the kli cheres, of the pottery, and then it's going to become nosar, right? If it's left over, so you have to break it because you can't kasher it. Ainli elishim avasho bo. I only know this is true about a case where you cook in it. Iro lesocho roteach. Well, how do I know if you pour into it hot korban food that has the same impact? Talmulomar asher tevushalbo says that which is cooked in it, mikom makom, regardless of how it's cooked. So the mikom makom comes to include something else. What other type of cooking is there? So this brayso seems to indicate that even if you poured Irui Kli Rishon into the pottery, into the earthenware, it makes it aser, meaning it cooks. It cooks into the walls of the vessel. Okay, now skip down to the next line. Rabbi Yossi. Do you have Rabbi Yossi? Right, I know. Rabbi Yossi. Tamon Kli Cheres Bolea. Rabbi Yossi said that's no raya. Kli Cheres is Bolea. Earthenware absorbs. Tavlin enam mispashlin. Spices don't get cooked. Rabbi Yossi, who's Mekel, he says no. He argues Rabbi Yossi, he says spices are not subject to cooking. Spices don't cook. I'm not sure exactly how that works. Yeah. Spices don't cook. They give flavor. They don't cook. But that's melting is not cooking. You're allowed to melt sugar into your... well, let's put it this way. Sugar doesn't cook. It dissolves, right?
But it turns to caramel if you cook it long enough.
Yeah, but that's why now if you put it in water.
They make candy.
Isn't cooking changing the status of what it was previously?
Yeah, making it softer or harder.
Well, the sugar dissolves and it's cooking.
No, it doesn't become softer, it just disappears.
Well, it's even more than cooking.
No, it's less than cooking. What's the classic cooking is meat, right? You take a piece of meat or an egg. It gets softer or harder.
It gets smaller. So is that part of getting smaller?
No.
It gets smaller. Sure.
No, it does, but that's not part of cooking.
Well, it gets smaller.
You're allowed to shrink things on Shabbos.
So you're saying like salt or something is not cooked?
Salt for sure not.
Salt does not.
Yeah.
First Shabbos in Kfar
Yeah.
I was berated by the...
No. We're machmir. We're machmir. No, wait. We're machmir on spice. Wait a minute. Just maybe. Whoa. But according to this Gemara, according to Rabbi Yossi, spice salt for sure not, because it certainly does. I mean, you can say that something which comes from vegetables is going to be cooking, but salt it's a mineral. Well, for sure it doesn't cook. But we're machmir. We're machmir all these things. We're machmir all spices. I was just trying to explain Rabbi Yossi's position.
But sugar changes.
Yeah, Kli Rishon. Yeah.
How about sugar? Not no plant, but sugar changes. Sugar caramelized. It thickens things.
But I don't even know if that's true. I'm not sure. Maybe sugar is not considered to be a spice. I don't know.
If you
But
use an artificial
yeah.
sweetener, it won't thicken. You have to use
It could be. Maybe sugar would be different. But you have to understand, that's Rabbi Yossi's perspective. Rabbi Yossi's perspective is that spices, peppers and things like that, they don't cook. They just give off taste. We don't paskin this way, but Rabbi Yossi's make them. Okay. Rabbi Yossi says too lenient, right? Rabbi Yossi says tam on kli cheres bolea, so therefore he says that a kli cheres absorbs. That's why iwer kli rishon pouring it asks the vessel, but the tavlin doesn't cook. Host Rabbi Yossi Bar Buntzar Yosef when asked the question, Vatani, didn't we learn? Are you still with me?
Yeah.
Minayin, he has minayin shebekli chayshes kain. That also by copperware vessels, also the pouring in of hot korban juice makes them usher. Tamlar, because both says v'imekli nechoshes bushala. Islach lemeimar kli nechoshes bolea. Can you say that copper absorbs? Copper's no more absorbent than anything else. It's not like kli cheres. If kli rishon asers copper, it's got aser spices as well. And that's the end. That's assumed to be a proof against Rabbi Yossi, and that's how we paskin like Rabbi Yoina, of course, that kli rishon is asers. You're not allowed to put any spices under an iwer kli rishon on Shabbos. Okay?
Here the Yerushalmi basically says it doesn't support it like make an irrefutable logic, saying, clean the choshes,
Doesn't say tufta or anything, is it?
Yeah, but, no, not just that. It's like, so maybe Rabbi Yossi says the clean choshes is not bolea.
No, but it's a kosov. You clean the choshes bushala. It's a pasuk.
It is?
Yeah. You can kasher it, but it gets absorbed. Yeah, okay, so it's a pasuk. This is a very interesting thing. Can you pour the spice in together with the iwer kli rishon? In other words, as you're pouring, can you put spice into the flow, right? Into the flow. So he says it's the same machlokas. It says machlokas Rabbi Yonah Rabbi Yossi. Also be machlokas Rabbi Yonah Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yitzchak bar Negufta. Boy, kumirai money. Ask for Ramona. Also came b'Shabbos. This is if he did it on Shabbos. Chai mishum mevashel. Okay, it's cooking. Also came b'Shabbos chai mishum mevashel. If he did it on Shabbos. Well, actually, it's a question. It's both parts of the question. Do we say that this is a chayiv on Shabbos? In other words, that which we asked at iwer kli rishon, and is it really mevashel? If you do it on Shabbos, we'll stone you. Also came b'Shabbos. If you did it by b'Shabbos, you poured hot meat and hot milk together. And we're going to flog you, and it's going to become also banah. It's going to become prevented to derive any benefit. Amalei said no. Just like Rabbi Zira said, Ezu cholud borur. What's true cooking? What's true cooking? Kosher ur mahalik tachtav. Any time fire goes underneath a pot. Now this is in terms of cooking. He was talking about in terms of challah. So challah is only given on baked goods, not on cooked goods. So this is considered to be cooking as opposed to baking. But what's considered to be cooking? Only if you actually have fire under a pot. V'afhacha. I don't think you have those words. You have ezu, right? What do you have next? Ezu tavshu boru kosher or mal tachtav. What's clearly cooking only if there's fire underneath. So iwer kli rishon, even though we hold it's aser because it's akin to bishul, it's not bona fide bishul. In order to make a bona fide bishul, what must you have? Fire under a pot, not just pouring.
How about cooking without a pot? Take a big fork and put a piece of meat in the fire. It's not still pot.
Same thing. Okay? So it's a Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, L'kol nosim v'chuli. You don't have that header, right? Rabbi Yehuda says that you could put tevel, back in the Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda said you could put tevel into any type of pot and it's still not going to be chayev in Yerushalmi Ma'asros unless it has salt water or vinegar in it. Why is that? Because according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's not just salt water and vinegar, but also if it has salt and wine. Then if you put truma into it, it no longer can be snacked upon. Why is that? Because the oil of the truma, which we're dealing with, oil, Shem and Zayis, fuses not in a chemical way, but rather in a way which is integral to the taste of the dish, in such a significant fashion that he holds this is what makes it kavua. Specifically in these cases where we're dealing with these substances where the oil has a very powerful impact on the taste and flavor and so on and so forth, in that case I say once you put it into these cooking, these dishes which are cooking, you can no longer snack on the snack on the tevel without taking off Trumas Ma'asros. Okay? Halacha hey. Ready? Eagle. You have a eagle which is olive, or pressed dates in a circle. Mishiach likenu. Once you smooth the cake of the dates with either beverages or some tool, so at that point it's chayim Trumas Ma'asros. You can't snack from it. Machlikim b'te'enim anovin shel tevel. One is allowed to use the liquids which come out of figs and grapes of tevel in order to make the cake which you pressed from them smooth. For Rabbi Yehuda Oser, Rabbi Yehuda forbids that. Now, why according to a Rabban are allowed to do it? You're using tevel, right? Using tevel in order to smooth the pile, in order to smooth the cake, and tevel, it's not exactly forbidden. No, you're allowed to benefit from tevel, but you're not going to meiser it properly, right? If you're using this liquid from inside in order to smooth out the cake and make it look aesthetically nice, so it's going to get lost. You're not going to meiser it, and that should be forbidden, right? It's just being used for subordinate purpose, not for food purposes. Nonetheless, it's not considered yet to be a bona fide beverage. That's why you're allowed to do it. This juice, which comes out of the grapes or comes out of the figs, which you're using to smooth out the cake, is not considered to be a bona fide beverage. Rabbi Yehuda nonetheless oser, because he holds that it is a bona fide beverage, and therefore now let's use it for this purpose because you're causing a loss to the Kohen, causing a loss to Trumas and Ma'asros. Hamachlik banovim, if somebody smooths out the grapes, consistently with what we said previously, he smooths out the pressed raisin cake, lo hulchshar, that does become suitably a kabel tuma, because this is not considered to be bona fide beverages you're using on it. Rabbi Yehuda Mer Uchshar, Rabbi Yehuda says it's muchshar. Why it's a muchshar? Obviously because he holds these are bona fide beverages. Now, grois, I said we're talking about the dates. Now we're talking also about dates, but this, yeah, even though they're from the 7 mashkin. These are the 7 mashkin, right? Because this is, one of them is yain, right? This is despite the fact that it's from the 7 mashkin, it's still not considered to be a beverage because it's only being used for smoothing the cake in aesthetic purposes. Grokos mishiyadush. Now, if you're pressing these dates into a vessel, so then it's only when they get pressed into a vessel. It's interesting, and the Gemara is going to pick up on this. If you're making them a cake, the moment they become the cake, they become forbidden to eat without meisering it. But if you're making them pressing them into a vessel, so it's only once they're pressed into the vessel, even if they're ready in the form of the cake. Similarly, in Magura, when you're putting them into a large wooden container, so and where mishiagel, once you press them into the wooden container. If you are pressing them into a bucket or a pitcher, or pressing them with a heavier weight into the large wooden container, and then the container broke, or the large wooden box broke, you're no longer allowed to eat from them, snack from them, because they were put already. The process began. Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yossi continues to lie to snack on, and the Gemara is going to discuss their machlokas. Chanina b'rei Rabbi Yasa Amar. Chanina said Rabbi Yasa said, Ma pligin Rabbi Yehuda Rabbanan. When the Rabbi Yehuda Rabbanan argue, b'tevel shenitva midivreim. Only in this tevel, which is tevel the Rabbanan, right? In other words, the way he says it here is that it's something, the way the Kavanaki says, he doesn't say it's talking about Bisman Hazeh, even though that might be a reason to say it's only the Rabbanan, because now we know that all mitzvahs are the Rabbanan. He says rather here it's only Tevel Mid Rabbanan. We're talking about a case where you you are going to sell it or do something like that, so you're no longer allowed to snack midoraisa. So that's why there's machlokas. Avo b'tevel shenitbal dvar Torah af rabbanim moedim. But tevel midoraisa, so there even rabbanim agree that you're not allowed to use the beverages from the inside to smooth out the press dates. Okay, I don't know why he said. He could just say bisman hazeh all together, all tevel bisman hazeh to rabbanon, because the whole mitzvah ma'aser bisman hazeh to rabbanon. So that might be where rabbanon are makel. I'm not sure why he had to throw in the issue of buying and selling and whether it's going to the market or not. Be that as it may, hamachlik banovim. You don't have the header, right? Hamachlik banovim lo huchshar. Okay, if you use the grapes, the beverage inside the grapes, to smooth out the raisin pile, so it's not machshir mekabel tuma. Now, Rabbi Mona Amar Law, are you with me now? Rabbi Mona said this stam. He said this is the Mishnah without any attribution. Rabbi Avin b'shem Rabbi. Rabbi Mona Amar the following statement stam. Sorry, without any attribution. Rabbi Avin said the following statement b'shem Rabbi Yochanan named Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yehuda kedaite. Rabbi Yehuda follows his line of reasoning. Rabbanan Kedaton, Rabbanan follows their line of reasoning. You still with me?
Yep.
The tiny we learned to Mr. Zucker were mamish at the bottom of Vavam Ralph. Last line. Okay? The tiny we learned to the Brisa. Zaysim shepotzen biyadayim suavos. Olives which were cracked open by an individual whose hands were tamei. Huchsharu. I know. There should be huchsharu. Okay, they're huchsharu l'kabel tuma. Why they're muchshar? Because you want to have the moisture. It's good for you. You intend to use it in order to use you crack them in order to use the oil. However, l'sofkan b'melach. What if you crack them open not in order to use the oil, but rather to salt them really well? Then in that case, lo huchsharu. Why they're not mukhshar? Because, what's the logic? You don't want the moisture out. What do you want to do? You crack them open for what purpose? Just to get the salt in, but not to take anything out. So the moisture which comes out is not moisture which is to your benefit, even though it's one of the shivas of mashkim, and therefore it's not metame. Okay, leida im yeshma and shemen or lo. If you crack them open to know if they have oil or not, lo uchsharu. They're not machshir. Okay? Do you have this completely different?
Yeah, it says later yeshbol mayim.
Oh, mayim means oil in this case. It's going to tell you about olives, right? Later yeshbol shemen lo huchsharu. They're not muchshar. Rabbi Yehuda Mer huchshar. Rabbi Yehuda says there are huchshar. Why is that? What's the machlokas here? Rabbanan Amrin, the rabbis said in their logic, b'meimov ubodek. Is he checking by seeing if waters flow from it, meaning oil flows from it? No. He just checks it by looking at it. He doesn't want the beverages to come out. So therefore, since he doesn't want the beverages to come out, he's just checking by looking at it. The beverages are not machshirit. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, begufo bodek. Rabbi Yehuda says the exact opposite. What are you talking about? Can you really tell how much oil there is just by looking at the body of it? You want the oil to come out to see if it has oil in it or not. Of hachos, so too here. Rabbanan Army, Rabbanan say, b'meimav umachlik. Are you using the beverages which come out in order to smooth are using the beverage to come out in order to smooth the cake which you just made? In other words, you don't mean to use it as beverage. You're just using it as a tool in order to smooth out the cake. Rabbi Yehuda Amar would have said, so what? B'shayis shelo machlik. Are you using the marble itself, meaning the grapes themselves, to smooth themselves out? You have to use the beverage. So in essence, there's a very fundamental machlokes Rabbi and Rabbanan. Wherever you're using a beverage, not for its proper purpose, but for some obliquely related purpose, such as to check if there's oil for later purposes, or to smooth out the cake so it looks nice. So Rabbanan say that's not considered to be a beverage use. So it's not machshir l'kabel tumah. Rabbi Yehuda says since the bottom line is that you need the beverage to check if there's oily. You need to check if it's oily. You need the beverage to check if to use it in order to smooth it out, even though it's not a normative use of beverage. That's machshel kabel too. Okay, I have a new header here. Grogros mishiyadush. So I'm talking about when dates become you're not allowed to snack from dates anymore when you press them. Okay, Omar lay Rebbe. Rabbi Shimon Berei, you have this? Rebbe said, Mr. Zucker, you have it? Where is it? Amalei Rebbe, Rabbi Shimon Berei. Rebbe said to Rabbi Shimon, his son, Ale, go up on Shabbos. Vavi lanu grogos mi'ilel, go bring me dates from the second floor. Amalei, so he said, wait, how can you do that? Ve'ino mosa mishum muktzah. Isn't muktzah? How can you go get your dates? They're muktzah. Amalei, so Rabbi said to his son Rabbi Shimon. See the good question. Yeah. See, the children are always firmer than the parents. So it's even true about Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. His son was more firm than he was, right? Amalei, what? Yeah. Amalei vadayin at lazu. You still hold the shita. The only thing which is also because of muktzah, that it's set aside at Shabbos, cannot be used, are figs and grapes which are in the process of drying. I'm Rabbi Shmuel bar Sisritoi, Mivnei Shem Masrichos Ben Esayim. Why is that? Because they in the middle of the process between the time that they're grapes and the time that they're raisins, they're disgusting and repugnant. Now, his son, Rabbi Shimon Rebbe, held like Rabbi Shimon like Rabbi Yehuda in the Machlokes Rabbi and Rabbi Shimon about muktzah. We pass on Rabbi Shimon that the only thing which is muktzah is grapes when they're being made raisins and dates when they're being made to dry dates. Figs. Sorry, figs are being made to dry figs. But Rabbi Yehuda says, if you want to use something on Shabbos, you have to have had it in mind from before Shabbos, whatever it is. So even the dates in the warehouse, they're also according to Rabbi Yehuda. And that's why Rabbi Shimon Rebbe asked his father that should be muktzah. Okay? Rabbi Zira boy kumi Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Zira stayed in front of Rabbi Yasa. That lo mistabra the law, it doesn't make sense. It only be elain patzalaya have a uvda. That we're talking about talking about dates which are collected when they're still not completely ripe. In other words, even Rabbi Shimon Rebbe could not have thought that that it's usher if they're just regular plain Jane dates. That's automatically assumed to be something you would use on that Shabbos, and there's no question that they're considered to be designated and not muktzah. Where did Rabbi Shimon Rebbe have a havamina that the dates are muktzah when they were collected they weren't yet ripe, and then they were set aside until they became ripe. So there, Rabbi Shimon Rebbe thought that they're similar to figs which are in the process of drying and raisins which are in the process of drying, that they're considered to be muktzah at this point. Okay? Amar Leis, he said, of Ana Savarkin. I also hold the mice was talking about such a case. Asa Rabbi Yossi Barbun came, and Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Bisna said, B'Shem Rabbi Yochanan, B'Ilim Patzilaya Avuvda. Yitzchak was talking about the unripe dates. V'Amar Lei, and that Rabbi said to son Rabbi Shimon, nonetheless, Ein L'cha Asim Mishum Muktzah Elateinim V'Anoil Vad. The because of muktzah is figs and grapes in the process of drying. Rabbi Yaakov Rabbi Avo said, Hada de Temelini Shabbos. That's only in terms of Shabbos. Avlidian Maisres. But in terms of Meiser, Kol Advorim Yesh Le Muktzah. All fruit has got the muktzah, meaning that they're not considered to be, this is a kula. Muktzah, in terms of Maisres, is a kula. Because why say muktzah? Because it's not fully prepared, fully done. So by meiser, when it's fully done, that's when you're no longer allowed to snack from it.
Oh.
So by Meiser to say everything is muktzah means it's a kula. It's a leniency that it ain't over till it's over, right? Then until it's fully prepared, even if it's like these unripe dates, right? Which the same analogous case, the unripe dates, they're considered to be nakamar malachtan until you actually gomer them, and therefore you can still snack on them at that point. It's a very big kula here. Okay, says Gemara, Rabbi Yassi said Masnisa Amar Kain. We learned this from our Mishnah. It's almost explicit in our Mishnah. Where so? There's Grogros Mishiyadush Megura Mishiyagil. It says in our Mishnah, you know what? If you're trying to make a cake out of dates, and that's all you intend to make, cake. So then, the moment it's a cake, it's considered to be finished. And you can't snack on it anymore. But the same cake, if then you intend to press it into a larger container, into a container or to a box, that it's not considered to be finished until it's finished pressing into the container or box. So we see that as long as considered to be even artificially not completed, because you want to add a stage or two, you can still snack from it until the final stage in the process which you determined is completed. Okay, is that clear? It's a good kula. Okay. Says Mar doesn't help us at all in chutzlars, but hey, it's a kula. Take it wherever you can get it. Okay. Says Mar further. I have a header here. Nishbra chavis v'niftacha v'chulei. What happens if the while you're packing it into this box, the box breaks? So it's a machlokas in the Mishnah. Rabbi Yochanan said, "Divrei shona rishon." That was a fascinating thing. Translate shona rishon into Aramaic. What do you get?
The first one taught.
Let's give me the Aramaic for it. Tanakama.
Oh, right.
Shona rishon, the one who learned first. This is Hebrew for Tanakama. I have never seen this. I mean, what do I know? I've never seen this before. Okay? Divrei shona rishon. The words of Tanakama, who says that once if the box broke in the middle of being packed, that it's still considered to be chayim and trumas ma'aser. You can't snack from a minute. The logic is lo atachton tzarich le'elyon v'lo elyon tzarich le'tachton. Look, no part of this box needs the other part of the box, because ultimately they're all cakes already. You're just pressing artificially, right? You don't need the top part of the stuff which is already in there. Doesn't need the stuff which you're going to pack in on top. It's independently completed. And stuff which is on top doesn't need stuff which is on the bottom. It's independently completed. So therefore, right now, okay, you want to pack into a box. Nebuch, the box broke. But that doesn't detract from the fact that they're completed, and therefore you can't snack despite the fact that your box broke. The words of the Tana Basra, the last Tana, are Tachton Tzarech Elyon. He says, no, but this was your intent, right? You wanted to put it into all one vessel. And he says, interesting thing, he says that since you wanted to sell it that way, so therefore that's not considered to be Kamar Malacha. You wanted to take it to the marketplace and the specific prices which they would get, I guess wholesale, retail, so therefore it makes a difference, right? And therefore it's still, you can still snack from it after it breaks. Rabbi Lezer said the Rabbi Meir. This is going, Tanakama is Rabbi Meir. Now you don't have this whole line, right? What's he telling? This is what he's telling us. The lo tizbor meimor. Do not think to say that Tanakama is a stama, the Mishnah that attribution. Rabbi Yossi, and the next Tana is Rabbi Yossi. And therefore it looks like the Tanakama, who's the Stam Mishnah. Okay, that's why Tzarech Meimar tells Rabbi Meir that Tanakama is Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yossi, therefore you can pass on like Rabbi Yossi, who says that in this case you are exempt from Trumas Ma'asros. You can still snack because not Kamar Malacha, because your original intent was not fulfilled. Okay? Hajlo Klal Amru, new parak, Halacha Aleph. Hoya over b'shuk. Okay, everybody's with us? New parak? Hoya over b'shuk, a person was walking in the marketplace. We don't know the status of this individual. The Pashtus says he's an Amoritz. That's Yaman Amoritz, who's bringing his fruit to the market. Vava, he says to some Talmidei Chachamim, Tol lechem teinim, take some figs. Ochlin of Turim, they can eat it and they're exempt. Why? Because it didn't yet come into a house. Lefichach, and therefore, im yichnisu vatein, if they bring it into their houses, we're on the top of Zion and Aleph now, metaknin vadai, they definitely have to fix it up, because they assume that it was not tithed till now. Tulu v'achnisu vatein, one of the Amor said to the Chaverim, take it into your houses to eat. Lo yechlu me'ema, right, so now they can't eat it, or as a snack. Why? Because of a fundamental principle the Gemara will tell us, whose intent determines the status of the fruit? The seller or the giver. The seller or the giver, not the buyer. And since he said eat in your houses, that means it's already been set aside for the house. It can no longer be snacked. That's it. Lefichach. However, on the other end, since he was revealed that he intends for them to take it into their house, so therefore, im yichnisu lebateyen, if they bring it to the house, einam misaknim el demai, they only have to fix it up as demai, because perhaps since he told them to take it into their houses, so then he might have actually already fixed it up before he gave it to them. Now, l'chayra, I just want to point out another thing which the Kabnaki says here. L'chayra, it would seem that we said that sales also are kavel meiser. A sale, midrabanan, is considered to be kovel meiser. A sale plus bringing it to the house afterwards. We said that. But a sale is like miruach. So here I tell you about this matana is like a mecher, and the Gemara is going to pick up on that. Why this gift is like a sale. Okay, let's go to the Gemara.
Wait 1 second. It's a gift. I can understand where the giver has a right to determine the obligations, the conditions.
That may be. It might not be by sale. Right, I don't know enough about it yet. That's true. And you're right. It's a good point. Yeah, it might only be by this gift. Okay, but we'll see the Gemara. Amar Shmuel. Shmuel said, did everybody see the Gemara? Do you have Amar Shmuel?
Shmuel says, Shmuel Amar Durav Meir.
Okay, Amar Shmuel Durav Meir. This is going like Rav Meir. Rav Meir Amar Ein Matzana Kemecher. A gift is not like a sale. Rabbi Yossi Amar Divrei Koli. Rabbi Yossi says everybody agrees to this. Now, what's the machlokas here? The machlokas here that is about machlokas here is by Yovel. Rav Meir holds that a gift is like a sale, and therefore, just like a sale goes back every Yovel, so to Rav Meir holds it's not. Therefore, a sale goes back every 50th year. A gift does not. Rabbi Yossi and Rabbanan are arguing him there. So, like him, our Mishnah say that a gift is not like a sale, and therefore it depends what the intent of the seller was. Like you were saying a moment ago, it depends on his intent, because it's not like a sale. By a sale, it's absolute. The moment it was designated for sale, you're not allowed to snack on it anymore. Snacks are forbidden. But here, it's a gift, and therefore the parameters are different. But it's according to Rabbanan, who argue our mayor there by Yovel, they'd also say in our Mishnah that once it's designated for the purpose of a gift, so you can no longer snack on it, right? So says the Gemara, Rabbi Yossi Amar Divrei Koli. Rabbi Yossi says it's quite like everybody, even like Rabbanan, and he'll explain why in a minute. Ishta ilis le'ilan Divrei Rabbi Yanai. They asked those over the house of Rabbi Yanai. For I mean, they said, Noagin avina yavin ilan le'ilan b'chakla. We would give, when we got gifts like this, we would give to each other. We'll give to each other gifts in the fields. Chaklas the fields. V'achlin would snack on them. V'lo masakin wouldn't be masakin. Why? Lichayra matana kemecher. If we pass like Rabbanan, that a gift is like a sale. So the moment it's sold, i.e. given, you're not allowed to snack on it anymore. Right? It's as if it came into a house. So says the Gemara, Ma'ikadun, what is the rationale behind this? Command Omer be'aleim kibul aleim esam ma'asros. According to opinion, the ma'asros b'zman the Rabbanan. So if ma'asros the Rabbanan, so the Rabbanan were mekel. They said a sale, that's it. You can no longer snack after a sale, but after a gift, you can still snack. Okay, nice balabadish distinction.
The lamb refers to the Amoratzi.
No. Klal Yisrael. Yeah, it's a Rabbana, means the Jews were caught by themselves. They came back by the time of Esther and Nehemiah. Okay? Now I have a header again. You don't have it, probably. You don't have that, right?
I have Masnisa.
Okay, Masniso. Our mission is talking about a case. Now, our mission is talking about a case where most people bring it into their houses. Why is that? Why is it more often said? Because in the beginning, our mission said, an Amoritz comes to me and says, the ratio, the case of the ratio is an Amoritz comes to me when he has fruit. It says, listen, Yosef, take this into your house, take this and eat it. Okay? Take it and eat it. Take it. In this case, l'chayra, we should say that where was on his way to the market, right? He's taking it to the market, so then it's already on the case where it's going to sale, right? So in case it's going to sale, so the determination to sell it in and of itself, we said in the previous parak, forbids me from snacking on it. So how can I now take it and snack on it? The Mishnah said, I'm allowed to snack. He just says to me, Tulachem Tainim Oichlim Turin. Says I can take it and I'm exempt. Why am I? He doesn't tell me to take it in my house. He just says take it and eat it. Why am I exempt? So says the our Mishnah is talking about where most people don't sell. No, it's the Amoritz himself wasn't taking it to the marketplace. He might have been going it down the market road, but he was taking it in order to take home with him. And therefore there was no intent to sell. That's why I, who got from him the gift, don't have to meiser either. I can still snack from it. But in a case where most people, when they take the fruit down the road, they take it to market. So in that case, I'm not allowed to snack. But B, einon misaknin elo demai, meaning that, hey, since he knew that I'm not allowed to snack, he might have known, because even Amoritz might know that once it's fixed to go to market, snacking is forbidden, so he might have taken off Trumas Ma'asros already. So then in that case, he might. No, Amoritz might. It's not that they definitely don't. They may or may not. So therefore, because Rov HaMe'aretz Ma'aser made, right? So therefore, when I take off the Trumas Ma'asros, I can only take off the mine, not Vadai. So in our Mishnah it said, it's an ironic thing. The Mishnah said, if I'm getting it from him and it's a place where people don't sell, so then I can snack. But when I get home, since people don't sell, he didn't fix it up. When I get home, I definitely have to take off Trumas Ma'asros myself. Vadai. But if it's a place where most people sell, so when it's on the road, so then at that point it's not chayv and Trumas. It's chayv and Trumas Ma'asros, right? So maybe the Amoritz then already did take off the Trumas Ma'asros. So then, since that's the case, under those circumstances, the halacha is that perhaps the Amoritz did take off Trumas Ma'asros. So when I take off Trumas Ma'asros, it's only demai, not vada. It's only misafik, not definitively. Okay, says Gemara. Mr. Zuger, you have a place?
No, it's okay.
What? No, it's not okay. I don't want to lose you tonight. I have you up for most of the evening.
Okay.
Where is it?
2 lines down from the Dalet.
2 lines down from the Dalet?
3, 6,
From the Dalet.
8, 9 lines from the Gemara.
Okay.
9's from the way the Gemara begins.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay.
Okay, you have the word E? E or in? In. Aleph Yud Nun. Do you see that? In b'makom sherov machnis lebatim. It says, well, wait a minute. If our mission is talking about where most people take take it home and they don't sell, it's not a place where there's a market. B'dah teninon. In this case, would you say in our Mishnah, you probably have b'dah tenina or something, right? Yeah, b'dah tenina. Would you say go and take it to your house as a quote from Mishnah? Would we say in our Mishnah betulu v'achnisu lebatechem, take it to your house as leichlu mehem arrive chule, they shouldn't eat from it on the snack, etc.? Now, the question, this is Yerushalmi. So the question is not from what we just quoted, but the question is rather from the etc. Okay? Whatever it says in Yerushalmi v'chule, you have to assume that the proof is from the v'chule, not what I just read from. So the question is indeed from the etc. The etc. says that we're talking about a case where he said the Sefer is, take a look back in the Mishnah a minute. Right on the top of Zion Amud Aleph. Okay, right on the top of Zion Amud Aleph in the Mishnah.
If I could turn around, I was like,
No. Okay, it's how we. So just listen. Tolu v'achnisu v'teichem. If the Amorit says take it, you don't have to look. I'll just read it outside. Tolu v'achnisu v'teichem. Take it and bring it into your house. Lo yochlu mehem arai. You're not allowed to eat from them as a snack, because that means when he said take it into your house, then this is considered to be like a sale, as we'll see in a moment. Okay, so lefichach therefore michnisu levatein ein masakin el d'mai. In that case, if they take it to their house, they only take off as d'mai. So that's so l'chayra. Why should you only have to take off as d'mai? Why only as d'mai? When he took it, when he giving it to you, he's not giving you something which is already chayiv and trumas and ma'asros, because it was only chayiv and trumas and ma'asros it was designated for sale. But he's saying to you, take it home with you. So he's saying take it home means when you take it home, when you get home with it, that's when you become chayiv and trumas and ma'asros. So if that's the case, when the Amoritz had it, he definitely would not have tithed it, because it wasn't yet a shas chiyuv. When our Amoritz have tithed it? When it was a shas chiyuv and already was chayiv by him. But here where it says tolu v'achnisu b'teichem, it was never chayiv by the Amoritz. So why is it only demai? When you, the chaver, take it home, it shouldn't be demai, it should be vadai. You should definitely take trumas and ma'asros off of it. So says the Gemara, a very interesting answer. Mikevan sha'amar, well, since he said, next two words you probably don't have, but they're important. Mikevan sha'amar, tulu v'achnisu. He said, take him into your house. Kimish Omar, it's as if he said, Tol vani masar yod chodami. So if he said, I'm taking achrayas. In other words, the added words, hachnisu levatechem. What does that mean? That's a euphemism. Hachnisu levatechem means take it into a place where it's going to become chayiv in meiser. Definitively chayiv, where the snack is no longer allowed. So it says the Gemara, I interpret his words, that excess verbiage which he employed, to mean that take it home and and eat it on my cheshbon, because I already meistered it previously. So those words imply that he himself already meistered it when he had it. Okay? Says the Gemara, avo b'makom shelo machnisim l'shuk. In a case, however,
I don't think it implies anything. I think it's take it at face value and just do what you want to do.
then you shouldn't have said no. But he didn't say do what you want to do. He said take it into your houses.
You're sure he meant every single word he said. Most people just talk. They don't mean what they say.
That's true now, but it wasn't true in the sixth. Wasn't true necessarily in the 6th century.
Okay, fine, thank you.
I guess. Okay, people weighed their words more carefully. Says the Gemara, in a case where most people take it from the marketplace, Eino Naman Lomar Lo Yisarti. It's interesting. The Amoritz in that case is not believed to say, I didn't meiser it yet. Right? I didn't meiser it yet would imply that the way the Kavanoki explains it, that since a place where most people take it to the marketplace, really we should say that, well, it's already chayiv, because he mistama meant to sell it, and since he meant once he intends to sell it already, sets it permanently, and you can't snack from it. But since this guy is coming and saying, I didn't take off meiser, what does he mean? Again, he's implying here. What he's saying is, I didn't intend to sell it. I always had in mind to give it to you as a gift, not to sell. And therefore, you could still snack from it. He doesn't just mean to say I didn't meiser. What he means to say is I didn't meiser because I didn't mean to make it something for sale. I meant to give it as a gift. And therefore, it's not meiser, but you can snack from it. That's the flip side of it, the advantage. So it says, he's not believed. Because in the place where most people sell, we assume that this is said for merchandise, and therefore the chachover gets it, can't snack from it. And he's not believed in this case to say, again, this is all part of the same statement. He's not believed to say, I intended to take it into my house and not to sell it. I'm not for the majority, and therefore it's true I didn't meiser it, but you can still snack from it. That's the flip side. He's not believing anything. We follow the rule. We don't follow what he himself says. Okay? Says more further. Masniso, you guys with me?
The only question, so is it the status is denied though?
What?
This kind of case, but we assume that his intent was to give it as a matana. So
What?
still, is this the case?
Yeah, but still demai. No, it's catch 22. No matter which way you look at it, it's still demai. Because he claims, the Amoritz claims, I meant to give it to you as a gift, I never meant to sell it. So therefore it was never chayiv in Maisus definitively. We don't believe him on either way.
The point was valid. Right.
What?
He was just talking.
No, but he meant to apply something. Why, we don't
We don't believe him, though.
That's separate. But he did mean to apply something.
Why don't we believe him? Because he's talking.
All right, fine.
Have it.
Okay. Says no further. I don't think you have this next line actually. Masnisa menaslo davar muat. Do you have that?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Nosson Davar Meruba.
No. Okay, so you have it, but
No, I have to.
oh, you have this thing. Okay. Masnisa menaslo davar muat. Our mission is about a case where you gave him a small amount. There I say. No. That's the next line.
Oh, I know.
You don't have this line. Masnisa menaslo davar muat. Our mission is about a case where you give him a small amount. There, it's not automatically like a sale. Nuts and lo davar meruba. However, if you give him a large gift, even if you tell him, go and eat it, because I didn't mean to give it to, it's not a sale, doesn't matter. You still can't snack from it. It's as if you told him taking it to your house, that you have taken to your house. Meaning, it's like a sale. But when I say matana is not like a mecher, only by small amounts. Because then I say it's the meiser, it's only the rabbanon, so I could say this matana is not really like a sale. But where I say where it's a large amount, so it looks much too much like a sale, and therefore in that case, forget it. There's no stacking, right? No stacking, period. If the Amoritz gave him something which is not normally eaten raw, and similarly, I have to. Scratch that. It's like which not normally eaten raw. I feel even though he said, go and eat it, go snack on it. It's as if he told him, go and take it into your house. Similarly, if he's a great man, who does not normally accustomed to eat in the marketplace. Normally said, go and eat it. He said, go and snack, it's not a problem. It's as if he told him, go and take it into your house. Now, what do I mean, go and take it into your house? That's a real, go and take it into your house. It's a hard thing for me to explain because I don't fully understand it. But if the Amoritz just says, take it, and it's a small amount, so then I say matana is not like mecher. If it's stuff which the Amoritz probably was taking to sell, such as where rove people in that place take to sell, so then I say it is like he's not believed to say it wasn't meant for sale, and then also you're not allowed to snack. They ain't not allowed to snack from it. But if the Amoritz said also take it and bring it into your house, then for a reason which is not clear for me,
Small or large?
even small, then for reasons which are not clear to me, it's considered to be in that case also we say matana kemecher, and therefore he has to, the chaver is no longer allowed to snack on it. So again, the only time I say matana is not like mecher, that a gift is not like a sale, is in a place where most people don't sell their grain, most people eat their grain personally, and the Amoritz just said take it. But in the case where the Amoritz said, either take it into your house, a case where it's a large gift, a case where it's a place where most people sell, so in that case I say this gift is like a sale, and you're not allowed to snack from it until you meiser it. Okay? So that's the dichotomy in the Gemara. It's not, it makes sense. Hayushnaim. There are two people there. Two chaverim. L'zeh amar lo tov echol. To Reuven he says, okay, take and eat it. Uzel amar lo tov achnes. The other guy who says, take it and bring it home. Zesh amar lo tov echol potter. The guy who says, take it and eat it, he's exempt. In other words, he can still snack from it. He just said, take it and eat it, right? Zesh amar lo tov achnes nebuch. Chayev. He's chayev and meitzah, so therefore he's not allowed to snack on it anymore. This is a principle which you just learned applied. Rabbi Yisrael said, for Lab Masnisi, isn't this a subsequent Mishnah? Mishnah says, Hein oichlin upturim. The people, if you're the Amoritz goes to the marketplace, and there are a bunch of people sitting there schmoozing, and then another couple of people there who actually are storekeepers, they have business there. So the people are schmoozing, Hein oichlin upturim, they're exempt. But a Baal Ashar, a Baal Chanus, a person there who's there because he's a gatekeeper, I guess that's his job, or he owns a store, so that's already considered to be as if it's their house, and therefore they're chayav. Okay, so that we can see that the dichotomy can create even for the Mishnah. Rabbi Yehuda said, going back to what we said previously, that our Mishnah is only going according to being in Meiser Zman that says the Rabbanon, Divrei Koli. It can even go according to being in mind the Meiser of Zman that says the Raisa. Kan b'dmai, kan b'vadai. Our Mishnah which says that they can be exempt, right? That matana is not necessarily kemecher, is in a case where it's demai. Okay? We're talking about a case that it's might have meistered all this after all, so therefore we say matana is not kemecher. We're making to say matana is not kemecher. Because our Mishnah is inherently, even the meisters of the Raisa, our Mishnah is inherently the Rabbanan, because we're talking about the mai. So about a case where Amoritz probably did meister, but Rabbanan relied on, were glazed not to rely on him. There, in the case where the Rabbanan say matana always is kemecher, in a case where it's vadai, not vadai, it's the case of vadai yovel.
Yeah, that's true.
In other words, the case where Rabbanan said vadai matana is vadai kemecher is where we have a definite oraisa, whether the field should go back to yovel or not. So then they said matana is kemecher, right? But we're saying what we're saying over here is a case of Demai where the whole concept is the Rabbanan. So therefore, in that case, Rabbanan Mekel said matana is not kemecher. Tanya, we learned. We're on top of Zion and base now. The truth is, it's already late. All right, we'll stop here and we'll take it from here next week. So we're at the top of Zion and base. We're going to start from there.